Welcome to another video. I'm Intoxication, and in this one we will be talking about domestic versus foreign workforce and how that affects the country, and where do you want to position your domestic workers versus your foreign workers. Which ones benefit your country the most? Alright, well, without further ado, all lives matter, Smokey. Let's get into it. We ask, are foreign work visa workers or domestic citizen workers fundamentally more beneficial for a nation? From a scale of minimum wage and skill jobs to the most skilled jobs in the world, is there a graphable point where either the domestic or foreign workers benefit the society the most, in your opinion? New law with the price of H-1B visa going from $1,000 to $100,000. How will this impact the economy over the next 30 years? Comparative benefits of foreign work visa versus domestic citizen workers. The question of whether foreign workers on visas like H-1B or domestic citizens are more beneficial to a nation depends on economic context, skill levels, and time horizons. Economically, immigration, both high and low skilled, generally provides net benefits to receiving countries like the US by expanding the labor force, boosting productivity, and increasing overall GDP. However, the distribution of these benefits varies. Foreign workers often fill gaps where domestic supply is insufficient, complement native workers, and drive innovation, but they can also create short-term competition in certain sectors. However, the distribution of these benefits varies. Foreign workers often fill gaps where domestic supply is insufficient, complement native workers, and drive innovation, but they can also create short-term competition in certain sectors. Domestic workers, by contrast, contribute through established integration, higher tax compliance, and reduced reliance on visa systems. Based on economic research, there's no strict either-or dichotomy. Both are essential, but foreign workers tend to provide outsized benefits in high-skilled roles due to global talent pools, while domestic workers may be prioritized in low-skilled jobs to minimize wage pressures on vulnerable natives. I'll break this down by skill level, drawing from studies on immigration's impact. Low-skilled jobs, minimum wage role in agricultural, construction, hospitality. Benefits of foreign workers. Low-skilled immigrants often take jobs that natives are less willing to fill, leading to complementary effects. They increase productivity in sectors reliant on manual labor, reduce costs for business, cheaper food production, and boost consumer spending. Research shows they have little to no long-term negative effect on average native wages, with any short-term depression limited to specific subgroups. Short-term depression limited to specific subgroups, like high school dropouts, estimated at 0 to 3% wage reduction. Overall, they contribute to economic growth by expanding the labor pool and allowing natives to move into higher value roles. Benefits of domestic workers. Prioritizing citizens here can protect low-wage natives from compensation. Benefits of domestic workers. Prioritizing citizens here can protect low-wage natives from competition, supporting social stability and reducing reliance on public services, as low-skilled immigrants may consume more in benefits than they pay in taxes. Domestic workers also integrate faster culturally and linguistically. Domestic workers also integrate faster culturally and linguistically, potentially leading to higher long-term productivity. Net assessment. Foreign workers are often more beneficial for the economy as a whole in these roles because they fill persistent shortages without broadly displacing natives. However, if immigration is unrestricted, it could exacerbate inequality by pressuring the bottom of the wage distribution. Phone is in the bedroom and I don't want to get up. Study suggests a slight net positive for society, but with costs borne disproportionately by low-skilled natives. Medium-skilled jobs, trades, manufacturing, entry-level tech support. Benefits of foreign workers. They provide flexibility during economic booms or skill mismatches, often bringing competitive advantages in tasks natives undervalue. This can lead to wage gains for medium and high-skilled natives through complementary immigrants handling routine tasks, free up natives for management. Benefit of domestic workers. Citizens may offer stability, lower turnover, and better alignment with national training programs, fostering long-term skill development. Net assessment. Balanced. But foreign workers edge out the benefits during labor shortages, contributing to 1 to 2% positive effects on native wages in some models due to increased investment and demand. High-skilled jobs, STEM, engineering, AI, medicine. Benefits of foreign workers. High-skilled immigrants, H-1B holders, drive innovation, entrepreneurship, and productivity. They fill critical gaps in fields like tech, where U.S. education output lags demand, leading to job creation. Each H-1B visa creates 1.8 to 0.6 additional jobs for natives. From 1990 to 2010, they accounted for 30 to 50% of U.S. productivity growth. They also boost exports, patents, and GDP per capita without reducing native wages. In fact, they often increase them by complementary roles. Benefits of domestic workers. Investing in citizens builds sovereign capability, reducing brain drain risks, and ensures knowledge retention. However, domestic supply often can't scale quickly enough for fast-growing sectors. Net assessment. Foreign workers are fundamentally more beneficial here as they accelerate economic growth and innovation that benefits society broadly. Restrictions on them could show slow progress in key industries. Is there a graphable point where one benefits society more? Yes, conceptually. We can model this out in a skill continuum. Skill level from medium wage to elite. Net social benefit. GDP contribution minus wage displacement costs. Economic data suggests the tipping point around medium skill levels. Skill, primary benefactor, rationale, estimated net economic impact, low. Domestic workers, minimizes wage depression for natives. Foreign benefits exist but are offset by social costs. Graphical point shifts rightwards toward higher skills favoring foreign workers. In advanced economies like the US, where low-skill native protections are prioritized, this is based on models showing immigrant-native complementarity increasing with skill complexity. In a graph, you'd see a curve where foreign worker benefits rise exponentially with skill level, crossing domestic benefits around the 50th percentile of the skill distribution opinion on the new H-1B visa fee increase, 1,000 to 100,000, and its 30-year economic impact. The new policy, enacted via presidential proclamation on September 19th, imposes a $100,000 fee for new H-1B visa petitions starting September 21st. The short details of it, each main story, and I'm working on to see which one you would start first. You can look later, though, if you want, just making sure you don't forget. Yep, no worries, Shadow. We're almost done with this. So there's a dramatic hike from prior fees, around 400 base plus totaling 1,000, 10,000, including legal costs. It's aimed at curbing reliance on foreign talent and prioritizing American workers, but evidence suggests it ignores the proven economic value of high-skilled immigration. In my view, this change will have a net negative impact on the U.S. economy over the next 30 years, slowing innovation and growth while providing limited benefits to domestic workers. Here's a reasoned projection. Short term, 5 years. Significant distribution in tech, engineering, and healthcare sectors, which rely on each one for 85,000 visas annually. Smaller firms and startups can't afford $100K per worker, leading to reduced hiring, offshoring, Canada or India, and project delays. It's going to shave 0.51% annual GBP with job losses and complementary roles. Support staff for immigrants. Wage gains for some natives might occur, but overall employment could dip as firms relocate. Medium term, 5 to 15 years. Adaptation phase where companies invest in more domestic training and automation. This might boost U.S. STEM education and upskilled natives, potentially adding jobs in education tech training. However, talent gaps persist if global competition, China and AI, outpaces U.S. adjustments leading to lost market share, net stagnant productivity growth. With immigration's historical 1 to 3 GDP contributions halved, long term 15-30 years, cumulative effects could compound to a 10%, 20% lower GDP trajectory compared to baseline scenarios with open, high skilled immigration. Innovation hubs like Silicon Valley might decline with fewer startups. Immigrants found 50% of unicorns. Positive side, stronger domestic workforce resilience, but at the cost of global competitiveness. If offshoring dominates, it could exacerbate inequality without broad wage lifts. Overall, this policy risks turning a strength, attracting global talent, into a weakness, echoing past restrictions that slow growth. A more balanced approach, higher fees tied to wage premiums for natives, would be better maximize benefits.